You are watching Xirtus.
Yeah, so I just randomly came across this because I guess I was browsing Wikipedia and maybe looking at the edits of any article. And by the way, to anyone browsing Wikipedia, it can always be interesting if you find an article that's strange or whatever it is, look at the edits because even the one edit I once contributed, and many, many years ago, and even though I did basically what I did is I translated the article for the technocratic movement, come to think of it, yeah, from English to Germany. And I tried to do it pretty much verbatim as much as possible. However, by now, even though I thought like, well, if it's approved on the English Wikipedia, shouldn't it be fine for the German one as well? So I just, translated all of that. And by now, probably 5 to 0% of my edit from many years ago is still existing on that website, but you can find it in the edits still. So here I just wanted to point out, why does Wikipedia have to use exactly this type of medals for their editors? That's basically all I wanted to say. And they have two versions of books which people then put on, which may be interesting to look at. The one is called The Complete Compendium of Universal Knowledge, and the other one is called Book of Knowledge of All Kingdoms. And for internal Wikipedia editors, this is like the badge of honor which you get after achieving, I don't know how many thousands of edits and
Oh, wow.
contributions. This is kind of the banner you are allowed to have on your editor profile if you've done so much work for them. So I just thought these are maybe interesting books to look at if Wikipedia
Oh
editors
my
are choosing
God.
them as their internal badge of honor, like
Senior
a medal.
Vanguard editor. Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah, it goes on and on.
Oh my God. This is so so clearly effed up. You got like the military awards for this is crazy. Where's the senior Vanguard editor one? I just saw that one. That was crazy. Was that it? Look at these like
And
this
there's
is
one with a
multiple.
Quran code as well.
This has Egyptian stuff on a QR code. You know,
Yeah.
this is Rosicrucian level, and then yeah, having Masonic star kind of military medallions award. What do they call that? Badges, military badges. That's crazy. Okay, well then the complete compendium of universal knowledge. I literally just found a copy of this yesterday. I have one of these in my
Great.
dad's barn.
So now
Yeah.
you're better than a Wikipedia senior ultra sentinel editor or
Oh,
whatever,
just
because
now? Finally?
that's
Okay.
yeah, because that's also one of the badges which they put on their editor sites when they have achieved something special. That's one
Really?
of the books. So yeah. It's like one of these badges basically. You're only allowed to display this on your editor profile if you're that and that high up in rank. And of course, everyone who doesn't know yet, Wikipedia technically would be an open source, thing anyone can edit. But as soon as you start to edit anything, you'll very soon find out that there is a very strong bias and leaning, and there is a power clique which basically can decide anything, and it's not open source at all, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a nice idea as long as it lasted, maybe for the
The
first year.
monsters and the Book of Knowledge of All Kingdoms. I don't have this one.
That's
This looks
another
cool.
one which they put up as well. I wish it would contain the Book of Knowledge of All Kingdoms. I don't know. I'll still have to check it out. But that's even the higher version. So after the what's it called? Complete Compendium of Universal Knowledge. If you're even higher up, you're allowed to display the Book of Knowledge of All Kingdoms on your editor page. So maybe that's something interesting to look into.
I'll have to go to the Bavarian Library at Munich to see a copy. Creepy. Okay. All right. Addendum. Let's get to the addendum. So the Star Spangled Banner. Let's start with that. This is the U.S. Anthem, 1950s. Oh, this is this
Yeah.
thing.
So
I am convinced this is fake. I look at where
no,
the words are
right.
written. It just
That's the
feels like
point.
okay.
Because this is the original. This was sent to me where someone said, "Oh no, it was edited afterwards."
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, by now I want to see an old VHS tape recorded by some nice, I want to say Jewish lady in 1960 or whatever, to really be sure how the original was. But this would be the version without the strange switched up letters which tell you to obey and consume. So just
Which
wanted to
was
point
cool
it
that
out.
someone went to all the effort to do that without getting tax dollars. But okay,
It seemed pretty convincing also, I have to say, the way it
yeah,
was done.
that's interesting.
So yeah, so just to point out, this version also exists, although this was only uploaded 2 years ago, and the other one is 10 years old on YouTube. So, whatever.
Fair.
Right?
And then Project Stork.
Oh yeah, and this one I wanted to bring up. I can't tell you much of the details about it, but because I had brought up the Colonel Towner Watson's, I believe she's called, or what? Colonel Towner in any case, and Badlands Media with Alpha Warrior. She's always doing interesting shows, and I brought up the Battelle company, and then through some chat or somewhere I saw that this Project Stork exists, where also Battelle already was involved. Because by today, of course, if you go on the website of any of these big, huge conglomerates, they basically just tell you, oh, we're providing industrial services and we're so sustainable, but they won't put these things on their front page, obviously, of all the strange things that were involved in history.
Look out for Mr. Stork. Yeah.
Oh,
Very
even
much.
Project Grudge. That relates, actually, because I think Grudge was one of the initial UFO identification projects or classification projects, which we'll get to a little bit later as well. We'll come back to that. So yeah, just as an addendum to the last show, brief section. But let's go on, and if you want, we can focus on the bold links, because maybe otherwise we'll never get through. Let's see. Yeah, this one is important, because in Xirtus History Revised, everyone check it out, the most popular video on Andreas's channel, you talk about dowsing, I believe, and that your own great-grandfather or something was dowsing.
Well, my grandfather was a dowser too, a well witcher.
So please explain to us just very briefly how you can believe this is real. If it's even a Veritasium video, I believe, no? Which also has the McMoon cover up, you know?
The way I could believe it was real was the same way my grandfather did. Like, my grandfather was an engineer who was successful as an engineer doing normal engineering things for Lockheed Martin and did rockets and things like that. But then, you know, when we needed a well, we brought him out and he used a wire in his hand. He walked around and he's like, here's a spot, and then we built the well there, right? And we're on top of a mountain, so it's not like it is an extra unusual thing or unique and beneficial or special thing that he was able to find water here in a place where there's not that much, you know, access to it, and you'd had to drill super deep down if you don't find it in the right place. So he was super lucky that he had that capacity. And he had it all of his life, and my great-grandfather also did it. And it's apparently something that was a skill that they were paid to do for generations, going around telling people where to find water, but also where there would be oil as opposed to water, like being able to tell the different materials underground. I think they could even tell if there was like metals in certain circumstances. So some people say dowsing. You know, I don't know how it works, really. I don't exactly understand how it works. I just know I've seen it all my life. So I kind of was grandfathered into it.
Yeah, that's great. And also, many years ago, I'm not sure if it was a workshop on that in particular, but somehow related to it, what anyone can do if you have one of these, I guess, very cheap, how do you call it, clothing hangers, right?
Yeah,
which are made of metal. Oh, really? That's great.
Yeah.
You can literally just, you know, you have it, you untie it or whatever. You have a small part here and a larger part going from your hand. You hold it very loosely. And why I'm saying this, because I tried this myself. And literally, you walk around anywhere slowly, and you will notice, if you don't hold it too tightly, that every like 2 meters, there's even a name for this. It's a particular magnetic network, apparently all around the known surface area at least. The clothing hanger or the piece of metal, it will turn. And then you move 1 more meter, it turns back, because you kind of hold it in a way that, I want to say gravity, we can discuss about that, but whatever force, you know, is pulling it straight. Then you move another meter and it's turning again. So yeah, anyone can verify this themselves, that there is some kind of magnetic field that's influencing something that everyone may have at home. You can verify this by yourself. And if we then assume that water or oil would have different properties, if you're skilled in that, to me, it makes perfect sense that, of course, this is a valid technique. And it's kind of hilarious or sad to me that then you have big channels coming out and be like, oh, it's all fake, you know, it's all woo-woo, when it's something that everyone could prove by themselves very easily.